Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for coming to our webinar today. This is a joint webinar between Family Law Software and CustodyXChange. I've written it out as custody space X space change, but the real company name does not have those spaces if you're searching for it on the web. Thank you all for coming today. My name is Nancy Chauso-Schaefer. I am a family law attorney in Illinois and a director of family law sales and training for Family Law Software. Joining me today in this presentation is Shay Drefts from CustodyXChange, and also Anna Tate from Family Law Software is going to be monitoring the Q&A. If you have questions, please put them in the Q&A. We'll try and get to them towards the end. If it's a really burning question or really good, we may answer it during the presentation, but we'll try not to be distracted. Feel free, though, to put in any questions that you have in the Q&A, and we will have time towards the end to get to those. So let's get started. CustodyXChange is a program that does parenting time schedules, among other tools in the program. And Family Law Software does the financial calculations in the for divorce cases. So let's give a little background. Parenting time is now commonly used in child support calculations, and I'm sure almost all of you on this webinar are from states that use parenting time in your support calculations. In Family Law Software, we have a very simple, quick parenting time calculator, and that works for many, if not most cases, but users have asked for more detailed calculations. So Family Law Software and CustodyXChange decided to partner and see if we could utilize their fabulous parenting time calculations to be able to allow us to have the results of that in Family Law Software. And just as a little bit of background, CustodyXChange actually stems from a program that I was involved in years and years ago that called KidMate. And I thought it was a terrific program. It sort of disappeared for a while. Unfortunately, some things happened and they went out of business. However, it was purchased by the people who started CustodyXChange, and they've adapted it to their program and improved it and made it much better and modern. So when we were looking for a parenting time fill-in for Family Law Software, I immediately thought of CustodyXChange because I have always thought it was a really good program and have used it for many, many years in my practice. So in family, I'm going to just stop here and take a little poll. We have enough people on right now to do that. And I'm going to launch a poll. Just two questions. Do you already use Family Law Software? And do you already use CustodyXChange? And so we will leave that open for a little bit to give you all a chance to use that poll. Thank you very much. And so let's continue then on our journey and look at the parenting time calculator in Family Law Software to start. We now have the Family Law Software calculator on the screen here, and you will see that you can put in the number of overnights per week, the number of overnights every 2 weeks, the overnights per month, and then you will find that we total it and it carries over into the data entry. So this is a little pop-up, you will carry over to the data entry. To access this pop-up, you click on the little bed icon in the cloud version, or in the desktop version, it'll say calc with a little calendar. And this will give you the total. But you can see here that there's 52 overnights, 4 overnights per week, 1 night per week, 2 overnights every 2 weeks, meaning the weekends is another 52. And then we have here additional overnights. So that additional overnights can get us up to the 120 overnights that we're seeing here for Blake. Very simple, but what do we do with those additional overnights? That it's actually a fairly complex calculation. We're looking at holidays, vacations, special days. Sometimes there's a different summer and school year schedule. Maybe there's makeup days, especially if a parent who travels a lot. And then when you're varying or adding that complexity to that basic schedule with that quick little additional overnights during the year or additional overnights per month, what we're really looking at is adding and subtracting additional days. So for example, mom gets 7 days of vacation, but 3 of those days are already hers. So she's actually getting an additional 7, not additional 7 days, she's getting an additional 4 days. But then dad also gets 7 days of vacation, and 3 of those were parent A's days. So now we have to subtract from the 4 we added for mom, 3 more, or subtract 3 days from that. So that added complexity gets a little crazy, and it's very easy to manage in CustodyXChange. And Shay is going to be able to show you how easy that is. And the key here is you want to use the CustodyXChange before you enter parenting time. And Shay is going to give you more details now.
Yes, I am. Hi, everyone. I'm Shay Dreffs with CustodyXChange. And so let's talk about putting a schedule into CustodyXChange. And then, of course, we'll talk about how that information carries automatically into family law software after that. So the first thing you'll do in CustodyXChange is you'll add your client if you haven't already done that. Quick and easy, you hit the new client button that you see there at the top right of the screen. It has a plus button next to it. And it'll ask you, would you like to start from scratch, or would you like to use another client's schedule? Obviously, if you have an existing client who has a similar schedule, that's a great way to just save you a little bit of time. Another thing that I want to mention here is you notice some of my clients have the word shared next to their name. That's because you're able to link with your clients. If they're subscribers, then they can go into their account on their end and work on their schedule or their parenting plan or any of the other products we have, like enter information into a parenting journal. That's super helpful, particularly for the schedule, because you could make a draft. They could go in and adjust exchange times or how they want to handle a particular holiday. And the other thing to mention in this screenshot that I've taken here is at the bottom, you see Raphael's clients listed, and that's because he's a colleague of mine. I've joined a professional group with him, which gives us the ability to work on each other's clients. So if you have multiple people in your office using CustodyXChange, I definitely recommend you go into your account settings and set up a professional group to allow you to collaborate. And it's an additional benefit. Everyone after the first member gets 50% off their subscription. So it's a great way for an office to save money. So we've added our client, and next, as soon as you finish that, it'll take you to this next screen that Nancy's going to pull up. There we go. Quickly just add their children. You click the edit button next to the word children, and then you type in names and birth dates, and you hit save. And now you've got your client in there and you have your kids in there. So the following thing you'll do is actually make the schedule. Now, if you selected the option we talked about, start from an existing client schedule, you don't have to do this. You could just go into the schedule and make any adjustments that are unique to the current client. But let's say you didn't do that. What I recommend doing is using a template. So on the left-hand side, you see we have listed all the most common custody schedules as templates. So once you know what schedule you're trying to make, choose the one of those that's the closest to it. And when you hit the button that says Next, Customize, it'll give you a few questions relevant to that schedule, like which parent gets the weekends, or what time should the exchange be? And you could add in some, like a midweek visit, and do some customizing, but it makes it very quick and easy to use templates. Another option is you could just click and drag manually in the calendar, but the templates save you time. And you could do that for a regular schedule, your year long or your school year typical schedule. You can also do it for a seasonal schedule, like a summer schedule, a Christmas break schedule, and then the seasonal ones will kind of stack on top of your regular schedule and take over. You set a start date and an end date, and they'll take over for that amount of time. And on the right here in this screenshot, you're seeing how you enter holidays in CustodyXChange. Again, we've tried to make it quick and easy for you using templates. You can also import holidays from another client. If you have someone who's going to handle holidays similarly, you could just basically copy those over. Or what you have pictured here are the age-based templates. So you choose one of the children's ages. If your client has children in multiple age groups, just pick one. I usually pick the oldest child because that has the most holidays associated with it. So in this case, I've chosen the 14 to 18-year-old template, and you can see the holidays that are included in that. And it gives you the most common way to share those holidays. So Mother's Day all day long goes to the mom. Father's Day all day long goes to the dad. 3-day weekends alternate even and odd years between the parents. And when you click use this template, they go in. It's fast, as I mentioned. That's great for you. But then you can go in and make adjustments. So if you would actually like a different exchange time, or instead of treating this holiday as being 1 day long, you would like it to really be 2 days long, you can make all those adjustments. If you've linked with your clients, they can do that at home on their end or even on their phone as well. So you have made your schedule. And on the next slide, you'll see that as you're doing all that, you're seeing parenting time totals with each change you make. Every time you drag an exchange, the parenting time total is updating, and it's taking into account if you've made multiple schedules. Like I said, you could have seasonal one, you could have a school year one, the holidays. If you've gone in and made any one-time changes, like, oh, actually on this day, the mom's going to take a few hours, even though it's usually dad's time. That's all showing up here above your calendar. You can see the annual calculation, the monthly calculation as well. And it's up to you if you want to see that hourly or the overnight calculation. You choose that in your account settings. Then my image on the right is just a more detailed view. You can get this calculation report, and that's helpful to show a judge or to take to mediation. But what we want for our child support calculation is just that simple number of how much time is parent one getting and how much time is parent two getting. That's what we're going to send over to family law software. In our final step here, you just go into your account settings and scroll down to where it says integrations, and you click the edit button. And then just one time you need to click this green enable button. And then a code will pop up, which you will copy. And now we're going to paste that into family law software. The code essentially is saying, hey, family law software, you have my permission to take this information from CustodyXChange. So that is where I'll turn it over to Nancy, and she'll show you what exactly you're going to do with this code in family law software.
So my suggestion is do the copy and paste so that you don't have to remember all that weird code stuff. And now you're going to go into family law software, and under the parenting time information, the children portion of the support data entry page, you will see this custody exchange import um, button, this blue button under the parenting time, the children's section. And you'll click that. It will ask you then to enter the code from Custody Exchange, and that is where you will paste it. So it's just a quick cut and paste. Here's the help menu from our program that will explain how to do it and how we do it. So we're comparing the parent's name to make sure that it's the same one. If you have more than one, it will allow you to select which client in Custody Exchange you're moving over into the into FLS. And then once imported into family law software, here you go, you will have those numbers in there in your overnights. Okay, here's the button, Custody Exchange import. This is what it's going to look like. If you make changes and you need to update, so now as Shay said, maybe you've given your clients access, maybe you're in a collaborative or mediation where this is a moving target until they have finally resolved that, you can just hit the import button again and it will overwrite the prior schedule. And that is our very simple but very effective import into Custody Exchange. Just a couple of other things I want to point out. When you see these parenting time totals, as Shay mentioned, you can do it by like how many hours, but also by overnights. So oftentimes the hours will really be a different number than the overnights, depending on how you structure the schedule. And so you can decide which one of those you're going to use in a mediation case. I remember negotiating some where there were more hours, but fewer overnights. And then we had to negotiate how that was going to impact parenting time in a state where we use overnights. But since it was a mediation, they were able to deviate from the guideline numbers. Okay, so let's look at your questions.
I can take the first one if you want,
Yeah,
Nancy. So Curtis is asking if custody exchange and family law are totally integrated. I think what you're asking is, so they're two separate tools. And so custody exchange, we have professional subscriptions and then we have parent subscriptions for your clients. And what I would mention, if you become a custody exchange subscriber, is if you are a judge, then you get it for free. So please send us a message letting us know that you're a judge so we can make sure that happens. If you work in legal aid, you get 50% off. So again, send us a message. And as I mentioned before, if you have multiple people using custody exchange in your office, you can all join a group, and everyone after the first person also gets 50% off. So definitely something to consider, and you can just do that in your account settings. And then the other thing to keep in mind is that we have different subscription levels. There's a silver and a gold, and you can pay annually or you can pay monthly. And when you do it annually, there's a bit of a discount involved. So we're two different tools. You'd want to subscribe to both, and those are some ways to save a little bit while doing so. And then the next question, I see a client who alternates weeks, except for holidays. Which schedule is best? That would be the alternating week schedule. So actually, I'm going to get
yeah.
fancy
Let me.
and share my screen.
There you go.
If that's all right,
Yeah,
Nancy.
got it.
And so to do alternating weeks, what you could do is you could click new schedule. This is obviously I'm in custody exchange now. You would choose a start date, and here are those templates I showed you. Alternating weeks, you would choose every other week. And here you can see it's every other week. Next step, I would say when the exchange is. So currently it's Friday at 9. I could
Right.
change that
And
to
if you wanted to
Monday.
make it Sunday at 6, you could just do that.
Exactly. And for the holidays, you would go over here to the holiday tab, save my changes, and you could use templates or add those in manually.
And
So
then in the templates, you can create a template as well. So if you have religious holidays that you have a lot of Jewish or Muslim or Hindu clients who have certain holidays, Custody Exchange can accommodate those. And then Shay, would you like to also show some of the other features of Custody Exchange?
sure. Let
And
me
then we'll get back
share
to the questions.
that. Sure. So obviously we've talked a lot today about the calendar, but also there's a parenting plan template that allows you to go in and you choose residential responsibility, decision-making responsibility. This language changes a bit based on your location. Right now I'm in Arizona. You can enter information about all these different topics if there's going to be supervised visitation. And then you end up with your parenting plan, which of course has the schedule in there. That's the parenting plan. You can watch if your client is using custody exchange, you can watch them message each other back and forth. You can see expenses that your client is entering and any journaling they're doing. Your client can enter information about their child, which vaccines have they had, what are their friends' contact information. And maybe the last one I'll mention is this one, actual time. You see here essentially a copy of the schedule you made in the calendar, but here is where you can click and drag and say, you know what, actually, dad was really late to that exchange, and so now mom has this extra parenting time. You can say who caused the change, and then it'll show you if I do enough changes up here the difference in parenting time by hour or again by overnight, depending on how you want to calculate. So those are a few of the highlights, I would say.
Okay. All right. Let's get back to some of the questions. Um,
Yes. Yes.
all right. So we did that one. Um, the summer exchange varies from year to year depending on the school schedule for the year. What I
Yeah.
have done is just take the number of weeks. It doesn't necessarily matter exactly which date. If you know the summer break is 11 weeks long, that will work.
And so you could go in, of course, every year when you get the dates and enter it in each year. Also, when you set a summer schedule, it will ask you, okay, so this year you're starting on the 5th of June. Do you want to start that day every year? Or do you want to start on like the first Monday of June or, the last Friday? So you can handle it that way. Or if there's really no pattern, no consistent routine, then you would just have to go in each year and adjust it.
Okay. All right. Um, so there's a question about doing parenting plans in custody exchange. And you can talk about that a little bit, one of the
Sure,
features.
it says, can you customize the language? Yep, you can choose from existing provisions, and often there's going to be like a fill in the blank or drop down option for customizing. But then there's also always the option to add in totally unique provisions. You can go in and type in the entire provision, and you can add as many of those as you want. So yes, fully customizable. And then we've got another question. Someone's having a
So,
hard time finding in FLS where you
right.
enter the custody exchange
So
code.
I'm going to show you FLS now. So happen to be in New York, but any state, your support maintenance data page, you want to go not to the quick page, okay? You want to go to the complete page. In other words, this is a little more complexity than just the simple quick. And you will see the custody exchange import button in the children's section under the names of the children. You'll see custody exchange import. And then when I click on that, it'll allow me to put in the code. And I can then click OK. And it says, I have one client. Is this the one you want to use? And I created a client, so I'll say yes. And now it's going to add that. Which party is the person in this FLS file, because they're different names, it'll make sure that you're matching it to the right person. Okay. So I happen to be in New York, which doesn't use parenting time, of course. I thought I set this up beforehand, but we'll go back here as Illinois. And then when I go here, now it's going to give me the parenting time schedule that I had in custody exchange. So it works very simply. And you will find that it's a nice addition to enable that integration if you have both programs and you have complexity in the parenting time schedule.
Yeah, and I could add just a couple other
Yeah.
tips for the importing process. Each, depending on your state, FLS looks a little bit different. So you might need to click, as Nancy did here, on the children drop down. So that's why it might look a little different than what you're seeing on the screen right now. If you have any issues with seeing the right parenting time, what I would do is go into custody exchange, and you can make any sort of change to your calendar, or you could hit save again on your calendar, and that will just kind of refresh the data and send it anew. And one thing to keep in mind is that the data is going to be from the start of your schedule until 1 year out. It's looking at the annual parenting time. So if you in custody exchange are looking at, say, the 2024 time, but your schedule actually started in 2023, it might look a little different because like in custody exchange, you can see the annual time for different years. You can see the monthly time. So just keep in mind that what's being sent is the annual parenting time from the start of the schedule. So there are different numbers that you might be seeing.
And obviously, both programs have a lot of complexity and a lot of useful tools for custody exchange in the parenting time aspects and in family law software in the financial aspects. But they're two very compatible programs in terms of your toolkit to handle divorce cases.
And we both have support folks, support at custodyexchange.com, support at, Nancy, correct me if I'm wrong, familylawsoftware.com.
Yes.
So please reach out if you're having any issues with your particular situation. And I see, can the parenting plan be exported to Word? Yes, parenting plan and custody exchange can be exported to Word.
Yeah. Okay. So that is the question. The family law software does not do an MSA. It does the financials, a report like division of marital property that you can attach as an exhibit to the MSA. Family law software and Custody Exchange both offer online support.
It is, you do email us and we're quick getting back to you.
And we try to be also. So
Great.
your parenting plan can be exported to Word. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. We're going to end this now. They want to know how much the Custody Exchange is. You can go to their website and see the pricing.
That's going to be the easiest way. There's, like I said,
Yeah,
there's different tiers and
it's too
annual.
complicated.
Okay.
So we appreciate you coming today. This will be that was recorded and it will be on our YouTube channel, and which is the Family Law Software. And you can subscribe to the YouTube channel to get that notification when it's uploaded. And Shay, you guys also have
We'll put it on
videos?
our YouTube as well. And any information, of course, CustodyXChange.com, and support@CustodyXChange.com is the email. Thank
Great.
you, Nancy, and thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Shay. Take care.